Ladies and gentlecolts, I welcome you to another edition of Pony Fanfiction Theater. My host Nate, the narrator with me is...
Aaron.
CJ Mosley.
And
Proprietor Club Vicar.
no,
Edgar Blake.
yeah, Edge and John.
And then we got
And
possibly the person who can't speak.
Yeah, and then Mr. Non-Pronunciations over there.
Yes.
Yeah, I might possibly.
John
If,
can't,
I feel like it.
for those who are wondering, John can't pronounce words for crap. Anyway,
He's dead.
No, they all know that.
Yeah,
They
okay.
should all know
Whatever.
that.
Come on. Let's start.
let us begin.
Anyways,
Rainbow Factory, bro.
Anyways, this is the famous story called Rainbow Factory. We're going to be playing the song once in the background. Take a listen to it. Anyways, read the link is in the description if you want to read along. Let's begin. There has long been rumors as to how exactly rainbows are made in Equestria. While a great amount of Pegasi ponies are employed in the rainbow department of the weather factory, almost all of them do the low-end work. What's known as the great streams of spectra, the individual colors of the rainbow, flow through large grates into the vast vats. From there, workers carefully and equally mix the spectra into a coagulated rainbow pools that dot and run through the factory and surrounding city. Next, that mixture is pumped into the floor below, where the other employees atomize it and store it until the active weather Pegasi deploy it in field. However, no one knows how individual spectra is made. Supplies are never seen being brought in, leaving not even a clue what it goes into a rainbow. Tourists, when visiting the factory, are treated into an extremely foreboding and plain wall, with massive solid doors barring entry to any pony at any time. While most of the facility's various signs and architecture is bubbly and welcoming, the Rainbow Factory's upper floor was protected by harsh imagery of potential hazards and death, and the cloud wall was made not out of the clean white of the rest of the city, but of a black, quietly thundering fog. To become an employee of the Upper Rainbow Factory means sacrificing any life outside those black walls. Workers are sworn into secrecy and forbidden from leaving and live inside the facility itself. Those few who were ever managed to make it out, not in a body bag, were twisted and disturbed, too damaged to ever bring themselves to talk about it. A lot of theories were proposed. Dark magic from captured unicorns, chemicals, and environmental hazards that no sane pony will tolerate, and even thoughts of another unknown sister of Celestia's destined to create the spectre instead of raise the sun or moon. None of them could be farther than the truth. Continue on.
But the rainbows. Come on, Orion. We're gonna be late for our final test. Scootaloo called to a friend of hers. She was older, now at least not now. In her last year of flight school, she, like all other Pegasus in the school, was terribly nervous of the final test. Those that pass for granted freedom into the world to find their key marks if they haven't yet and become working ponies. A little known, or at least little thought about fact, was of what happened to the fillies that failed their tests. While uncommon, one or two from every class generally didn't have it in them to perform the rigorous acts and maneuvers. Those that failed the test were looked down upon in the worst of their ways, shunned and hated. Cloudsdale had always bred a form of nationalism among its occupants. If you weren't the best or didn't show the potential of being the greatest, you weren't allowed to be part of the glorious collective. Scootaloo moved a little to the side as Orion, a tall yet fairly skinny pony, settled next to her. He fluffed his light brown feathers and gave a worried attempt at a smile as he stared around where he sat. They were sitting in the large open waiting room overlooking the Coliseum with all the other graduate Pegasi. Just visible in the distance was the factory. Orion glanced at it and gulped. "What's the matter, Orion? You're afraid of getting a dead-end job in the snow line? On the snow line?" Orion chuckled a bit, but then closed his eyes and sighed. "No, it's It's just, I don't know. I don't think I can do this. What if I fail? What if I don't fail, but do bad just enough to be disliked by everyone? I don't know if I can take being deported. Where do we even go anyways? Scootaloo gave Orion a friendly punch. No one knows you don't, and we're not going to fail. Everyone here is going to be fine. I know I will, at least. She laughed. Thanks to the tips from Rainbow Dash, I'll sure to be fine. Oh, yeah, sure. That reassures me. That's actually just as, if not even more reassuring than the psychopathic hate every pony here seems to love to spread. Quit panicking, Scary Wings, Scootaloo replied. The only one here I think might even fail that is that yellow pony with the dark green mane. She's the one who was sick for that month, you know. Oh yeah, Orion remembered as he craned his head in the other pony's direction. The one who had the bad case of hoof and wing. She looks pretty confident though. I suppose we'll see, Scootaloo trailed, turning to look at the rainbow factory herself. It gave her chills, not a fear, but pride. I hope I get some cool active weather job. Can you imagine? Everyone in Ponyville or Philadelphia staring up at me going, there's Scootaloo! Such an amazing flyer, and from Clydesdale. There could be no doubt. She smiled in excitement, getting her attention in for the moment. That would be something, I'll admit. Mind you, just coming from Clydesdale, who wouldn't be in awe? Exactly. Praise the flock. Praise the flock. Places every pony.
You just want to read the entire story while we just sit here and listen?
You guys, if you want to go in, go ahead. Anybody else want to read?
A massive buff Pegasus walked towards the entrance to the Coliseum. We're going to do this by name. Your educators are on the east side of the field. Do not, I repeat, do not fly too far west. If they lose sight of you for any reason, you'll be failed immediately. Take deep breaths, stretch your wings one last time. The test will consist of 3 sections: weather clearing, agility, and finally recovery. Clear the clouds, fly through the hoops, and then fly to the marked elevation. Close your wings for at least 3 seconds, any less and you'll fail. But keep in mind, there's no extra points for extra seconds. Finally, recover before you hit the cloud floor. Understood? Any questions? The instructor paused and carefully glanced at every single pony in the room. Everyone's eyes were completely focused on him, and none were creased with confusion. Alright, Aurora Dawn, you're up first. Clear, fly, fall, complete. The yellow pony nodded and walked quickly up to the starting ramp with purpose. She stared at the watching judges, waited for a nod from all 3, and then took off with a powerful force. The ramp bounced slightly from the force of the takeoff. Every pony watched as Aurora quickly reached the starting altitude, and then began a direct and purposeful attack on the positioned clouds. With expert timing and intelligent angles, the sky was soon empty of any moisture. Scootaloo and Orion watched it with open mouths as they watched their first testy pull fast and tight turns, expertly shooting dead center through each and every hoop. Finally, Aurora pulled herself up to the proper altitude, hovered, and closed her wings. The group of students gasped as she started plummeting down towards the clouds, and counted breathlessly, 1, 2, 3. They sighed as they watched her wings open in the correct amount of time, correctly holding that relief. Suddenly, Aurora's wings whipped out upwards, and the group of students flinched in horror as they all heard the loud, hollow snap, only to be suddenly replaced by an unending, piercing scream. Many, like Orion, shielded their eyes with their wings, as others, like Scootaloo, could only watch, terrified as the blur of yellow, green, and red plummeted into a cloud with a dull thump.
Damn!
That's funny!
What are you talking about?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
God.
Continue.
Wasting no time, the instructor walked forwards again as the 3 judges simply pointed down and started shuffling papers around. Speaking loudly, as if nothing had happened, he called out again, Daisy Fields, clear, fly, fall, complete. Scootaloo and Orion stared slack-jawed as another pony gulped, then walked forwards onto the path and took off. They turned back to the tuft on the cloud where Aurora landed and startled and stared. As the wind blew the fragments that were thrown up from the collision away, they saw the shivering yellow body attempt to move, only to collapse with a cry. Faraday spots. Clear, fly, fall, complete. Aurora still struggled to walk, wailing with every step. Her legs were broken, she could use them fine, but it was obvious the pain from her wing joints and the loss of her potential life was crushing her. Scootaloo felt Orion shuffle uneasily, tears welling in his eyes as a frown formed on his face. Holiday shine, clear, fly, fall, complete. No one's coming to help her, Orion see through closed teeth. Scootaloo felt extremely sad for the yellow Pegasus, but couldn't see herself helping her. She would be failed herself and sent away, far from Cloudsdale and any familiar place on Equestria, to a place where she and any other failed students could never stain Cloudsdale's reputation. It was a tale of shame, but Scootaloo couldn't fail herself. She couldn't fail her friends, and she definitely couldn't fail Rainbow Dash. Not after the care and help she had given her, Scootaloo's whole life. Scootaloo blinked the tears from her eyes and forced herself to watch the competing students. One after another took off, successfully passed the test, and flew to the east gate, under the judge's spot in the stands. That's all Scootaloo focused on. Pass the test, fly to the gate, live a happy life. Orion Solstice. Clear, fly, fall, complete. No. What? The instructor took a step back. One leg left raised in... What? One leg left? That doesn't make any fucking... Alright, whatever. Raised in the air. You can't just refuse your flight test. Get out there before you piss the judges off. No. Don't even pretend you care about my future if you don't care about hers. Orion defied, unsure about himself. You say you want me to get a good life, and yet you let those that failed suffer unbearable pain. Get the fuck onto the field before I fail you myself, the instructor shouted menacingly. Fine, Orion spoke sharply. Before walking onto the ramp, he stared at the judges, waited for the individual nods, and the second they came, he took off. However, long before the starting altitude, he turned sharply and landed gently next to Aurora. She turned and looked at him, blood running down her forehead and sides, and tears streamed down her face. What are you doing? You'll fail, like me. You'll be exiled. I'd rather be exiled from a place that treats ponies like this than live my life while others don't live theirs. Aurora smiled, happiness briefly replacing her sadness in her black and puffy eyes, until she stumbled again, and intense pain flashed across her body. Orion leaned in close, using his wing to brace the yellow pony against himself. He stared up at the judges, beaming hate with his vision. They stared down, unaffected, and simply pointed down, before looking back towards the ramp for the next contestant. Anybody else?
Hello? Anyone?
Anyone?
Alright, Blake, your turn.
Have fun, Blake.
Where do we leave off?
Scootaloo stood shocked at the bottom of page 4.
Okay. 1. Okay, Scootaloo dropped her head.
No.
Right? No?
Scootaloo stood shocked. You're probably a page down. Where are you? It's include the top page, like the one with all the information on it. Thanks to one. Count that page and go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's Scootaloo stood shocked, like the last line of that page.
Such great commentary.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, here you said page 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. There's... Okay, I see it. Scootaloo I found it. Scootaloo stood shocked, hardly hearing her name called. She moved numbly up the ramp, never taking her eye off her friend and the pony he sacrificed himself to help. After a brief moment, she shook her head, recovering her thoughts, and looked up to the judges. Thoughts passed her head as she watched them all nod. Oh, Celestia, what do I do? I can't let everyone know I know down, but I'll never see Orion again. I suppose. I hope he knew the risk when he did that. I'm sure he's thinking the same right now. She glanced at Orion, sorry.
It's okay.
He wasn't looking at her. She took off heartbroken. Instinct kicked in as a familiar rush of wind cooled her and blew her thoughts away. She stopped at the right altitude and then launched again. Sensing and seeing every cloud, formulating a game plan. In a matter of couple dozen seconds, the sky was clear. She did a quick loop in mid-flight, aiming at the first hoop. With a powerful flash for wings, she propelled forward